lines, 248-539-9797. Whenever there's big breaking news, one of the things that we do here is how does it impact us? Well, the big breaking news was Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to the LA Clippers over the weekend. And immediately I thought, okay, Russell Westbrook's probably going to want out. Can Detroit get in on Russell Westbrook? And, oh, by the way, Kawhi Leonard's now out of the East and back to the West. And by the, this was 4:50 in the morning. By 5:15, I had exhausted my capacity to come up with a deal that really made sense. I just didn't see this as being feasible. But by the end of the day, first there was a Bleacher Report story I saw. Then there was The Athletic was reporting Detroit and Miami as possibilities. It's like, okay, so apparently we're in this. And put in quotes, we're in this. It just still doesn't seem realistic. And I'm not sure it's worth it. Does that team compete for the East? Let's say they unload, stuff you don't want to, like Kennard and Doumbia, although I don't know if we can expect much from Doumbia this year. But Kennard seems like a blossoming player. And if I'm Oklahoma City, that's what I'm asking for in return. Do they compete for the East?
Just so I understand this. You were in bed by yourself?
Yep.
On Friday night / Saturday morning?
Yep.
No kids in the house?
Nope.
No wife in the house?
Nope.
And your inclination was to wake up for the next hour and start thinking about how the Pistons...
Well, I didn't want to. It just when I woke up, I heard the news, and as soon as I heard the news, I started thinking, and I wasn't getting back to sleep, and it wasn't like, ooh, yay, I get to get up now and start thinking about trade possibilities. It was I couldn't stop thinking about trade possibilities. I have problems getting back to sleep. It's called secondary insomnia. I can fall asleep at the end of the day like that. But if I wake up at any time, I'm up for an hour, almost always.
That's why you go to work out or start thinking about weird trade possibilities, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's what Doug does, man.
Yep.
Or he starts doing yard work.
I did yard work.
Yeah.
I did some mulch work at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. I've been to the gym at ridiculous hours because I can't sleep. I can't help it. I don't know what to say.
So does this mean you had a free night on Friday night?
Yes.
No wife, no kids on a Friday night?
No wife, no kids on a Friday night. I had stuff to do up until about 8:30, but when I was done with that, yeah.
What'd you do?
I had to meet with a coach. That's all. I'll just leave it at that.
That was your Friday night?
Yeah. Yeah, and then I went and got some food and went home, and what I watched? I watched Summer League.
All right, so all night to yourself.
Yes. Well, you're really changing the subject here.
It's okay. I just there's a little insight into. I'm just curious. Got some food. What was the food for Doug Karsch?
Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right.
Chicken. Shocker.
Yeah. Kang, what do you think?
All right, there's so much to take in here. It was crazy. You're right, Doug. When this broke, and it broke like at 1:45 a.m. Eastern time, which is ridiculous. Everyone's asleep, or you're up like Doug thinking of yard work to do.
Yep.
When it comes out, the effects of Kawhi choosing Clippers, right? And then the next bomb is Russell Westbrook's going to be available because they had to move Paul George. And you see the two teams that are most aggressively, according to reports, are the Miami Heat and, the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay, should the Pistons do this? Can they do this? Listen, Russell Westbrook has 3 years with a 4-year option, which he'll probably take, which is like $40 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big contract. Downfall, big contracts. Not as efficient as you would like, but the positives are another superstar to add to Blake Griffin, a guy who can dominate the game when he's on. And by the way, the East is a lot weaker now without Kawhi, without LeBron James.
Yep.
First thing one of the questions you guys asked was, could this make the Pistons a contender in the East? I think it definitely can. I mean, you've got Milwaukee obviously and the Sixers. Okay, Celtics will be up there, but it's not inconceivable to think the Pistons could be contending for the East with a good Russell Westbrook, with a healthy Blake Griffin. If Andre Drummond's not moved in that deal, a guy who's better suited as a third player on a quote-unquote big three, I think they definitely could compete. Now, I don't believe the reports that Oklahoma City's just looking to dump his contract. I think they want stuff in return. It's not going to be Paul George like record-setting, first-round picks, but they want first-round picks. They want contract dumps for sure. You throw in, the reports out there and make the contracts work are Tony Snell, Reggie Jackson, right? And then you guys start throwing in assets, which is Luke Kennard, maybe a couple first-rounders. I think you can keep Siku and then still get rid of the other assets. So that way you keep an asset on your side as well as picking up Russell Westbrook. If I was forced, hell yes or hell no to do it, I say hell yes. It's definitely worth it for the Pistons. They've proven, this league has proven, the only way that teams and markets like Detroit can get a superstar is either draft for him or trade for him. Clearly, they haven't done so well in the drafting department. What they did, they traded for Blake Griffin. I wouldn't mind doing it again for Russell Westbrook. I'd do it. I personally would do it.
Now, nobody with Russell Westbrook has ever won, even with more talent around him.
Exactly.
But
I mean,
it's
with
in
the
the
Kevin
West.
Durant days, they made it to the finals, but they haven't won much since.
But
they
it's
were
in the West.
Yeah.
And this would be bringing them over to the East.
Which is a lot weaker, like I said, without Kawhi, without LeBron James.
And they don't have a Kevin Durant on this team.
His numbers have gone down significantly over the last couple of years. Even though the last 3 years he's averaged a triple-double. 3 years ago, he averaged 31 points. 2 years ago, it was 25.5 points. Last year, it was just under 23 points a game. His numbers had gone down. His free throw percentage, he had been an 82% shooter for most of his career. 3 years ago, he was at 84. 2 years ago, down to 74%. Last year was at 65%. He also didn't take as many free throws last year, but I think that's an area of concern. But although it should be easily corrected, it's free throws, and the guy has been, an 80% free throw shooter for his career. But he doesn't make three-point shots. He takes a lot of them, but he doesn't make a whole lot of them. Each of the last 2 years, he's been under 30% shooting from three-point range. In fact, he's just a 31% shooter for his career from beyond the arc. And today's NBA is all about that three-point shot. I get confused because I don't know if he's just a stat filler or how good of a player he really is. But I know this. Sometimes I want to live my life not to be mocked by Mike Valenti. So I'm very, very sketchy about wanting to endorse a move like this. But it would be so much fun to see a superstar player like Russell Westbrook here, and I'd be curious to see how he would do when he's with another great player again, like he has been his entire career with Oklahoma City. He's always played with great players, but have another great player like Blake Griffin, who's a similar player in some ways in that he distributes the ball and he rebounds. Now, Blake's more of a shooter than Westbrook is in terms of an outside shooting presence. But they've also got a guy that maybe could accept the role of being what he needs to be, and that's Andre Drummond, and they've got other pieces. I would endorse this move if they could do it without trading Luke Kennard and without trading Sekou Doumbouya.
Yeah, I mean, putting myself in Oklahoma City shoes, I'm asking for those guys in draft picks along with the expiring contract of Reggie.
But I have a real strong feeling that Oklahoma City's going to want to get a lot for Russell Westbrook, and in the end, not going to be able to because every team knows that they got to unload him.
248-539-9797, JT in Southfield. Hi, JT.
Good. How are you guys doing?
What's
All
up?
right, JT.
Good. Just a couple quick points about this situation. Now, Gator, I believe they would have to trade either Luke Kennard or Sekou. I believe they would have to trade one of them. I don't think they necessarily have to give up both of them. And I think I would probably lean toward Kennard because I'm curious to see what this rookie can do. I don't want to trade him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If I had to give up one of them, I'd give up Kennard.
A lot.
Yeah.
I like Kennard a lot. The problem I have with him is his lack of aggression. He's not aggressive enough for me consistently. But my thinking about Russell Westbrook is here's where we see how good of coach Dwayne Casey is. Because I'm thinking of like when Chauncey Billups came here, if people remember, as a free agent. The year he was a free agent, it was him and Andre Miller. And I honestly wanted the Pistons to get Andre Miller because I thought he was a better player than Chauncey Billups at the time. And I'm glad I was definitely wrong about that. But Larry Brown and Chauncey Billups says this over and over in interviews and stuff, made him a much better player. And so for Russell Westbrook, you got the name, you have the stats with the triple-doubles and everything, and, you have everything that you want in that respect. You got the money and everything. If it's important to him, and nobody's ever doubted his competitive level. I mean, the guy plays hard as hell. He works hard as hell. The only thing left for him now is to prove that he can win. And if Dwayne Casey is the coach that we all think he is, maybe he can get the best out of this guy. When you talked about his scoring going down, Gator, that doesn't really concern me. The free throws, you're right. That has to get better and whatnot. But I wonder if he got so focused in on that triple-double thing that, it probably to me. You know, I would like for him to stay away
So
from
JT,
worrying as much about
let's
the
just
stats.
sum it up. You do it.
Okay.
You do everything you can to get him without giving up Dumbaye.
100% in terms of giving up the extra draft picks and stuff. If you think you're going to be good, to me, like, you know, I think I was telling Kang on the phone, you're either going to trade Blake Griffin and start clean, or you're going to run with Blake Griffin and you need to get him some help and you need to go all in.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Champ and Chump will do our nominations at 10:35. More of your phone calls and feedback. 97.1 The Ticket.